Hi guys! In this video, tuturuan ko kayo kung paano mag-identify ng market condition or direction ng market. As a trader, bago pa tayo pumasok ng isang trade, kailangan meron tayong bias. So it can either be bullish, bearish, or neutral. Dito tayo magbe-base kung maglo-long ba tayo or mag-short. Isa sa mga skills ng isang trader is identifying the market condition. So in this video, tuturuan ko kayo kung paano mag-identify kung ang market ba ay nasa trending market, ranging market, or choppy market. So I hope ma-apply nyo kung ano yung matututunan nyo dito in your own personal trading journey. So with that, let's begin. Market condition. The first step in analyzing a price chart is to identify the market condition. The market can be categorized into one of three conditions. So first, trending market, a market that moves in specific direction. So kapag trending market, it can either be going up or going down. Ranging or sideways market, a market in which price bounces in between high and low price. So kapag nasa sideways market tayo, yung price confined siya within a certain price range. Alright, and lastly, we have choppy market, a market that indicates indecision. So kung hindi nyo ma-identify kung trending market ba siya or sideways, that means nasa choppy market tayo. Trending market, uptrend. An uptrend is a market that makes higher highs and higher lows. Downtrend naman, a downtrend is a market that makes lower highs and lower lows. So, anong itsura nitong higher highs and higher lows na to? So, uptrend, kailangan makakita tayo ng higher high and then higher low. Right? So, bakit siya tinatawag na higher high and higher low? Kasi kung makikita nyo sa structure niya, let's say itong high na to, mas mataas siya compared to previous high. So, itong peak na to, right? Itong higher low naman na to is much higher than the previous low. Kaya siya tinawag na higher low. Now, for downtrend naman, kailangan makakita tayo ng series of lower highs and lower lows. So, bakit siya tinawag na lower high and lower low? So, here, we can see na merong lower high or itong top na to, right? Itong peak. So, itong high na to, high price, is much lower than the previous high. Kaya siya tinawag na lower high. This low naman is much lower than the previous low, kaya siya tinawag na lower low. So, in a trending market, kapag uptrend, kailangan may series of higher highs and higher lows. And sa downtrend, kailangan may series of lower highs and lower lows. Example of an uptrending market. So remember, kapag uptrend, kailangan makakita tayo ng series of higher highs and higher lows. Alright, so in this example, i-identify natin kung nasan ba itong mga higher highs and higher lows. Right, so as you can see from the bottom left of the chart to upper right, pataas tayo. So basically, nasa uptrend tayo. But we have to identify the structure. Okay? So first, meron tayong initial higher high. So bakit ito initial? Kasi ito yung first higher high or first high na nakita natin dito sa chart na to. Alright? And then we also have initial higher low. Kasi ito yung first higher low na nakita natin dito sa price chart. So, paano siya magiging confirmed higher highs and higher lows, right? Kasi ito initial pa lang. Hindi pa at this point, hindi pa tayo sure kung uptrending market ba to, right? So, for us to confirm, kailangan ma-break ng price itong level na to, yung initial higher high. Once price breaks that level, magkakaroon tayo ng higher high. So, hindi na siya initial. Okay? Meron na tayong higher high. And then, magkakaroon din tayo ng higher low. Okay? So, paano natin mako-confirm kung itong higher low na to, ito na nga ba yun? Itong level na to, right? So, para ma-confirm natin, kailangan ma-break natin yung higher high, yung recent higher high. Okay? So, once we break that higher high, magkakaroon ulit tayo ng panibagong high sa market. And then, we can assume magkakaroon ulit tayo ng higher low. Kasi basically, meron na tayong series of higher highs and higher lows. So, nasa uptrending market na tayo. Okay? So, once we break this recent higher high, magkakaroon ulit tayo ng panibagong higher high. And then, we can assume once na bumaba yung price, magkakaroon ng higher low. Okay? And then again, once ma-break natin, magkakaroon ulit tayo ng higher high and then higher low. And then, kailangan ma-break ulit natin yung uh, previous higher high. Okay? So, may series of higher highs and higher lows nasa uptrending market tayo. Okay? Another example of an uptrending market. So, from the bottom left of our chart to upper right, makikita natin pataas yung chart. So, nasa uptrend tayo. But again, we have to identify the structure. Alright? So, we have our initial higher high. Kasi ito yung first high na nakita natin dito sa chart. And then we have our initial higher low. Alright? So, ito yung first higher low. So, how can we confirm na ito na nga yung initial higher low natin and initial higher high? So, we have to break this high. Okay? Itong initial higher high. Now, once we break that level, magkakaroon tayo ng higher high. So, hindi na siya initial. And then, higher low. Okay? So, para ma-confirm natin kung higher low nga ba to, right? Kasi pwede pa siyang bumaba. Right? And then, dito siya mag-create ng higher low, right? So, hindi natin alam. Mako-confirm lang natin na higher low na nga ito once we break the higher high. Okay? So, kapag na-break na natin yung level na yun, magkakaroon ulit tayo ng higher high. So, itong higher low na to is already confirmed, right? And itong high na to is much higher than the previous high. So, at this point, masasabi natin na nasa uptrend na tayo kasi meron na tayong series of higher highs and higher lows, right? So, once we break that previous higher high, magkakaroon ulit tayo ng panibagong high na we can assume na magpo-pullback or bababa siya to create a higher low. And then once ma-establish na yung higher low, once ma-break na natin yung higher high, magkakaroon ulit tayo ng panibagong higher high sa market. Uptrend termination. So, hindi forever nasa uptrending market tayo. At some point, kailangan rin niyang mag-reverse. So, how can we identify an uptrend termination? So, kailangan makakita tayo ng break of structure. So, in an uptrending market, meron tayong series of higher highs and higher lows, right? So, ito yung structure natin. Meron tayong low, meron tayong high. So, ito yung last higher low natin. Once price breaks that level, signal na sa atin to na possible, okay? Possible na magkakaroon tayo ng reversal. Okay? Kasi again, in an uptrending market, ang kailangan nakikita lang natin is series of higher highs and higher lows. Now, once we break this previous higher low, that means magkakaroon tayo ng lower low. So, ang lower low, nakikita lang natin to sa downtrending market. So, once na ma-break yung previous higher low, warning sign na ng market to na possible may reversal. Okay? So, possible. Kaya siya initial lower low. Ito yung warning sign sa atin na, okay, kung naka-long ka or may buy position ka dito sa trend na to, pwede mong i-manage yung trade mo, right? So, kasi possible magkaroon na tayo ng reversal. Okay? So, once we break that level, magkakaroon tayo ng initial lower low or our warning sign. And then, possible na magkaroon tayo ng initial lower high. Okay? So, at this point, hindi pa natin alam kung lower high nga ba talaga to. Right? Kasi pwede pa siyang umakyat, ma-break tong level na to, magkaroon ulit tayo ng higher high. Okay? So, hindi pa natin alam. So, mako-confirm lang natin na initial lower high na to once we break this previous initial lower low. Okay? So, once we break that level, magkakaroon tayo ng lower low. Okay? So, ito yung confirmation natin. Hindi na siya initial. Alright? So, at this point, we can say na nasa uptrending I mean, downtrending market na tayo, okay? So, itong uptrend na to, tapos na, and nasa downtrending market na tayo, alright? Example of uptrending termination. Again, kailangan makakita tayo ng break of structure. Ito yung signal sa atin ng market na possible magkakaroon ng reversal in trend. Alright? So, we are looking at the chart of gold, 8-hour time frame. So, as we can see, nasa uptrend tayo, right? So, from here, bottom left to upper right, meron tayong uptrending market. So, tingnan natin yung structure. So, meron tayong series of higher highs and higher lows, right? So, higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay? Now, nasaan yung previous higher low natin? So, nandito. So, as you can see, that level has been broken, right? So, nagkaroon tayo ng initial lower low. So, at this point, meron tayong warning sign. Okay? Nung nakita natin tong break of structure na to, na break na yung previous higher low, so sinisignalan na tayo ng market na possible magkaroon tayo ng reversal, right? And then, nagkaroon tayo ng initial lower high. But at this point, hindi pa natin confirm kung initial lower high na nga ba to. Kasi, pwede pa siyang umakyat. Okay? So, mako-confirm lang natin to once we break this level. Okay? Yung initial lower low level natin. So, once we break that level, ito yung confirmation natin na okay, itong uptrend na to, tapos na, and meron tayong panibagong trend sa market. Okay? So, meron tayong lower low. We can assume magkakaroon tayo ng lower high. After that lower high, magkakaroon tayo ng lower low. So, series of lower lows and lower highs. So, nasa downtrend market na tayo. Another example of uptrend termination. So, crude oil daily time frame. So, as you can see, nasa uptrending market tayo. May series of higher highs and higher lows. Now, nagkaroon tayo ng higher high, and then another higher low, and then another higher high. So, kailangan nyo lang laging i-identify kung nasaan yung previous higher low and then yung previous higher high natin. Okay? In terms of structure. Now, yung last higher low natin, nandito. Ito yung level niya. Right? So, as you can see, na-break ng price, itong level na to. So, nagkaroon tayo ng initial lower low. Kasi itong low na to is much lower than the previous low. Okay? And dito sa series of higher highs and higher lows, right? Ito yung first time na nakakita tayo ng lower low. So, ito yung warning sign natin na possible may reversal na. Okay? So, kung may initial lower low na tayo, we can wait for initial lower high. Pero mako-confirm lang natin na initial lower high na to once we break this level. Okay? So, once we break that level, magkakaroon tayo ng lower low. And ito yung confirmation natin. Alright? So, confirm na yung downtrend natin, yung uptrend tapos na-terminate na. So, nasa bagong trend tayo. Okay? So, lower low and then lower high. So, kung may lower high tayo, we can assume magkakaroon ulit tayo ng lower low. Alright? Downtrending market. So, sa downtrend, kailangan makakita tayo ng series of lower highs and lower lows. So, let's have an example. Okay? So, we are looking at Aussie USD daily time frame. So, as you can see, from the upper left to lower right ng chart, pababa yung market. Nasa downtrend. But we have to identify the structure. Okay? So, meron tayong initial lower low. Ito yung first lower low na nakita natin dito sa chart. And then we have initial lower high. Okay? So once we break this level, yung level ng initial lower low, okay? Mako-confirm natin yung trend, right? So magkakaroon tayo ng lower low. So this low is much lower than the previous low. And then we can assume magkakaroon tayo ng lower high. But we can only confirm this lower high once we break the previous lower low. Alright? So once we break that level, magkakaroon ulit tayo ng lower low and then lower high Okay, so at this point, nasa downtrending market na tayo. Maghihintay lang tayo ng mga break of structure. Okay, so once we break this lower low, magkakaroon tayo ng panibagong lower low. And then we can assume magkakaroon tayo ng panibagong lower high. Kasi nasa series of, nasa downtrend tayo. Right? So, sa downtrend, ang hinihintay lang natin yung lower lows and lower highs. Okay? So, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Alright? So, let's have another example. Okay, so silver, 8-hour time frame. So, nasa downtrending market tayo. Let's identify the structure. So, we have this initial lower low and then initial lower high. Okay? Once we break this level, mako-confirm natin yung downtrend. So, magkakaroon tayo ng lower low. And then, we can assume once na mag-retrace or mag-pullback, or ito yung tinatawag na short-term strength, kapag umangat yung market, we can assume na magkakaroon tayo ng lower high as long as we're not breaking this high. Okay? So, kailangan ulit natin ma-break yung previous lower low. So, once we break that level, magkakaroon tayo ng lower low. Okay? And then lower high. And then mag-aabang ulit tayo na ma-break niya yung previous lower low para magkaroon tayo ng panibagong low sa market. Alright? Like uptrending market, hindi rin forever nasa downtrend market tayo. So at some point, kailangan din ma-terminate ng downtrending market. So ang kailangan natin makita kung magre-reverse na ba yung downtrend is a break of structure. Alright? So downtrending market, series of lower lows and lower highs. So nasaan yung previous lower high natin? Yun yung titingnan natin, right? So ito yung previous lower high. So once we break that level, magkakaroon tayo ng warning sign sa market. Okay? So ito yung initial higher high. So itong high na to is much higher than this high. Okay? So yung higher high, nakikita lang natin to sa uptrending market, hindi sa downtrending market. So sa downtrend, once na magpakita na to, warning sign na sa atin to na possible. Okay? Hindi pa sure, hindi pa certain na magre-reverse. But malaki yung possibility. Okay? So once we have this initial higher high, mag-pull back, magkakaroon tayo ng initial higher low. But we cannot, okay? We cannot confirm yet kung okay, kung higher low na to, right? Kasi pwede pa siyang bumaba, ma-break to, magkaroon ulit tayo ng lower low sa market, right? So, ang kailangan natin hintayin, ma-break tong initial higher high, okay? So, once we break that initial higher high, magkakaroon tayo ng higher high, pero hindi na initial, okay? So, ito yung confirmation natin. Confirmed na rin tong higher low, right? So, we can assume after this higher high, okay, once na mag-pullback, bumaba yung price, magkakaroon tayo ng higher low. Okay? So, this downtrending market, tapos na, and nasa panibagong trend tayo. Okay? Okay, let's have an example. So again, ito yung hinahanap natin for downtrend termination. Alright? So, silver 4-hour time frame. So as you can see, galing tayo sa downtrending market. May series of lower lows and lower highs. So we have here lower high and then lower low. So yung last structure natin or last lower high, nandito sa level na to. Okay? Itong level na to. Now, as you can see, from here, from this lower low, nagrally yung price towards that level and eventually na-break. So, nagkaroon tayo ng initial higher high. So, nagkaroon tayo ng warning sign sa market na itong downtrend na to, possible, tapos na or patapos na. Alright? So, initial higher high and then initial higher low. Now, at this point, hindi pa natin alam kung initial higher low na to unless ma-break natin to. Right? So, once we break that level, confirm na higher low to, initial higher low, and magkakaroon tayo ng higher high for our confirmation. Okay? So, ito yung confirmation natin na itong downtrend na to tapos na and nasa panibagong trend tayo. Alright? So, we can assume na magkakaroon din tayo ng higher low and then higher high. Okay? So, higher high to. Alright? Another example of downtrend termination. So, we are looking at USD-JPY daily time frame. So, as you can see, nasa downtrend tayo. Right? So, lower lows, lower highs. Okay? So, lower low and then lower high. Now, ito yung last lower high natin. Okay? Ito yung last lower high. So, once we break that level, magkakaroon tayo ng initial higher high. So, this will serve as a warning sign na possible may trend reversal na paparating. Okay? So, nagkaroon din tayo ng initial higher low. So, we can only confirm this once we break this level, yung initial higher high natin. So, once we break that level, magkakaroon tayo ng higher high. So, hindi na siya initial, but confirmation na nasa uptrending market tayo. So, magkakaroon tayo ng higher low, higher high, and then higher low. Right? So, nasa uptrending market na tayo. Ranging or sideways market. A ranging market is categorized by price moving sideways between a certain high price and low price. So, anong itsura niya? Right? So, confined siya within a certain price range. So, dito lang naglalaro yung market. Okay? So, every time mapupunta siya dito sa high price, magkakaroon ng mga sellers na pinupush pababa yung price towards this low price. So, dito sa level na to, nagkakaroon naman ng buyers. Okay? So, once na makakita tayo ng market na confined within a certain price range, nasa sideways or ranging market yun. Okay? So, let's have an example. Okay, so gold chart daily time frame. So, as you can see, galing tayo ng uptrend, but at some point, pumasok siya sa sideways market condition. So, every time na mapupunta siya dito sa high price na to, nakakahanap ng sellers. So, pinupush pababa yung price. Okay? And then, once naman ma-reach itong level na to, nakakahanap ng mga buyers. So, parang nagpiping-pong lang yung price, no? So, once mapunta dito yung price, ibabalik pataas. And once mapunta dito yung price, sa high price, ibabalik naman pababa. Okay? So, ito yung sideways market condition. Alright? So, let's have another example. As you can see, galing tayo ng decline. Okay? Galing tayo ng decline and then nag-rally and then pumasok sa sideways market. So, confined yung price within this range. Alright? So, meron tayong high price and then meron tayong low price. So, every time na pupunta yung price sa dito sa high level natin, right? Nakakahanap ng sellers. So, yung mga sellers, pinupush yung price pababa and then once ma-reach itong level na to, may mga buyers naman na handang bumili para i-push yung price higher. Okay? So, at this point, nasa sideways market tayo. At some point, kailangan din matapos ng ranging market. So, ang kailangan nating makita is a clear break of either high price or low price. So, yung pag-break ng high price, ito yung tinatawag na breakout. And then, yung pag-break naman ng low price, ito yung tinatawag na breakdown. So, in this illustration, nasa sideways market tayo. Once we break the high price, magkakaroon tayo ng breakout. So, that means tapos na yung sideways market. So, pag nag-breakout siya, makakakita tayo ng higher high. And then, we can assume magkakaroon tayo ng higher low. Alright? And then, magko-continue yung upside move. Now, breakdown naman. So, nasa sideways market tayo. Then, once we break that low price, magkakaroon tayo ng breakdown. And then, makakakita tayo ng lower low. So after that lower low, we can assume magkakaroon tayo ng lower high and then lower low. Alright? So let's have an example. So breakout. So GBP CHF daily time frame. So as you can see, galing tayo ng uptrend and then pumasok tayo sa sideways market. Okay? So may mga sellers dito sa high price, may mga buyers dito sa low price. So as you can see, yung level natin, yung high price and low price, hindi siya exact level. Alright? So zone siya. So ito matututunan nyo sa support and resistance class natin. Okay? Anyway, so may mga sellers na handang magbenta, may mga buyers na handang bumili. Now, nagkaroon tayo ng breakout. Alright? So, na-break yung structure. Nagkaroon tayo ng breakout. So, lumabas na siya dyan sa sideways condition. And then, nagkaroon tayo ng higher high. And then, a very shallow higher low. Alright? So, at this point, we can say na, okay, wala na tayo dito sa sideways market na to. Okay? And nasa uptrending market na tayo. Okay? So, let's have another one. So, NZD, USD, 5-minute time frame. So, guys, hindi lang to limited to time frame, okay? I mean, hindi to limited sa isang time frame lang. Makikita nyo rin to sa iba't ibang time frame and in any market. Alright? So, going back, NZD, USD, galing siya ng decline and then pumasok tayo sa sideways market condition. Okay? So, may mga sellers and then may mga buyers. Okay? So, nagkaroon tayo ng breakout dito. Right? So, as you can see, very obvious na may momentum dun sa breakout. Right? So, very big candlestick. Okay? And then, nagkaroon tayo ng higher high. So, at this point, nung nakita natin na nag-breakout siya dito sa sideways, that means tapos na itong condition na to, itong ranging condition na to, and magtutuloy na yung trend niya. Alright? So, higher high, and then higher low. Okay? So, breakdown naman. So, we are looking at GBP CHF daily time frame. So, as you can see, meron tayong decline dito. May break of structure dito. As you can see, ito yung higher low. Then, nagkaroon tayo ng lower low. Right? So, ito yung sideways natin. Pumasok siya sa ranging market condition. So, may sellers, may buyers. Okay? And then, nagkaroon tayo ng breakdown. So, andito yung price nung in-screenshot ko siya. No? So, we can assume na after this breakdown, pwede siyang bumaba and then umakyat. Right? Umakyat kasi meron tayong lower low. So, pwede siyang umakyat to create a lower high and then magkaroon ulit ng lower low. Alright? So, another example, USD JPY 15-minute time frame. So, confined tayo within a certain price range and then nagkaroon tayo ng breakdown. Right? So, yung breakdown na yun, very aggressive. Right? Kung makikita nyo, ang lalaki ng candlestick or yung bars. And then, nagkaroon tayo ng lower low. Alright? So, kung may lower low tayo, we can assume magkakaroon tayo ng lower high and then another lower low. Okay? Choppy market. A choppy market or indecisive market is categorized by price moving up, down, and all around but with no visible rhythm. So, kapag nasa choppy market tayo, mahirap i-identify yung structure ng market. Kasi magkakaroon tayo ng higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then lower high. Tapos, sometimes magkakaroon tayo ng lower low, and then higher high, lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high, lower low, lower high. So, medyo magulo siya. And at this kind of market condition, sobrang hirap humanap ng trade. Okay? So, kapag ganito yung market, it's much better to move to other currency pair or other stock, kung stock yung tinitrade nyo, right? Kasi very unclear pa siya, very indecisive ng market, right? So, let's have an example. So as you can see dito sa chart ng GBP CAD, daily time frame, nasa choppy market tayo. Okay? So, meron tayong lower low, then lower low, higher low, then higher high. So at this point, okay, baka nasa uptrend na tayo, right? Kasi nagkaroon ng higher high. Nagkaroon tayo ng higher low. But then, ang ginawa ng market, gumawa siya ng lower high, and then lower low. So, tapos na ba tong uptrend na to? Eh, hindi pa tayo nagsimula. And then, nasa downtrend na tayo. So, ang ginawa ng market, nag-create siya ng lower high, and then higher low. Right? Higher low, higher high, and then may lower low na naman. And then lower high, and then higher low. So, sobrang hirap humanap ng trade at this kind of market condition. Okay? So, another example, 𝘕𝑗𝑃𝑦 8-hour time frame. So, dito medyo smooth pa, galing tayo ng decline. So, we can assume nasa downtrend. Karoon tayo ng lower low, then lower high, and then lower low. And then meron tayong break of structure. So, okay, baka nasa uptrending market na tayo. So, nagkaroon tayo ng higher high. So, ito yung initial higher high. And then, hindi tayo nakapag-establish ng higher low. Instead, nagkaroon tayo ng lower low. And then lower high. And then lower low. And then higher high. Right? So, akala natin magko-continue pa yung downtrend. But then, nagkaroon tayo ng higher high, higher low, higher high. Right? And then, higher low na naman. Higher high, higher low. So, you have to ask yourself, saan ba papunta yung market? Nasaan yung direction niya? Kung hindi nyo alam kung nasa ang direction siya, move on to the next currency pair. Okay? So, kailangan iwasan natin yung choppy market. As much as possible, ang gusto lang natin i-trade is yung trending market or ranging market. Alright? Some important reminders lang when it comes to market condition. First, if you identify a choppy or indecisive market with no visible oscillations, move on to the next pair. Okay, so marami pa tayong pwedeng i-trade na may clear direction. Huwag tayong mag-aksaya, mag-overanalyze sa isang market na walang clear direction. Alright? So remember, if in doubt, stay out. And lastly, if you identify a trending or ranging market with visible oscillations, proceed to identify the market phase. So market condition, ito yung first step natin in analyzing a price chart. Second step is market phase. Okay? Alright, so by now, I hope marunong na kayo mag-identify ng market condition. And it is now time for you to apply what you've learned. Lastly, kung nagustuhan nyo itong trading guide na ito, please like, share, and subscribe para marami pa tayong matulungan na traders.